Now, please welcome to the stage. We've already had the author of The Selfish Gene. We've already had the author of Bad Science. Now the author of Talking Cock. It is Richard Herring.
Thank you very much. Lovely to be here. What I want to do for you tonight is... I've recently rediscovered a book of stories I wrote the first stories I ever wrote when I was 6 years old. These are genuinely real things. I haven't made these up. It's a delight to discover these things. And I think, you know, the child's the father of man. And I think religion and science, they share they both start in the imagination. I think that's where they both start. They have that in common. And so it's quite interesting to look at. There's quite a lot of philosophy in here accidentally as a 6-year-old. The first story I wrote in this book is called The Man That Could Fly. And I can see you're immediately going, well, men can't fly. This is ridiculous. How is this going to... Just bear with it. Don't let your rationalism destroy you. Once upon a time, there was a man, and he could fly with armbands. And one day, he flew to Australia. And another day, he flew to a desert. And another day, he flew to Paris. And another day, he was ill and couldn't go away. And another day, he flew to the sun, but he got burnt up to pieces, the end. So this... It's like thank you. It's a reworking of the Icarus myth there. I don't know if I did that. Though in my version, he gets to go on holiday first, which is kind of nice. Before his hubris destroys him. He has to go to Paris. That's quite nice, isn't it? The next one's called The Man Who Was Never Born. Again, I can see you immediately shifting in your seat. How can a man never be... Just wait. Wait. Once upon a time, there was a man who was never born, and nobody saw him because he was not born. And he ate food from people, the end. Which again, I quite like, because that's basically, it says a lot about me. Basically, that guy's invisible. If I was invisible, what I would do is eat food from people. Even today, I would use that skill. So the child is the father of the man, definitely. This is a bit derivative of myself. This one's a bit derivative of the man who was never born. Obviously, it's difficult when you're an author. You hit a good idea. It's difficult to move away from what you're known for. This is called The Plant That Never Grow. Grow is spelled G-H-R-O-W, as we all know. Once there was a plant, and it never grew. And a man had planted it, and he did not know he had it in his garden, the end. So that's... It's quite philosophical, and that one's illustrated. There's a picture there of 3 flowers growing, and then a seed. And that's the one that didn't grow. This is my favourite, though. This is called The 4 Men Had a Fight with the Men of Fies, which is my the Men of Fies, I think, are the Pharisees. I was quite obsessed with Jesus as a child, and I just saw the Pharisees as kind of bad men. They were the enemies of Jesus. I saw them as a group of men who just went around with machine guns shooting everyone, really. I think hadn't got it quite right. But I was obsessed with Jesus as a child, though I was quite sceptical. I remember I would read the New Testament. I was quite obsessed with the first page of the New Testament. The Abraham begat Isaac, Isaac begat Jacob, Jacob begat Judas and his brethren, Judas begat Phares and Zara of Tamar. We all know it. Phares got Hezron and Awa. Yeah, okay. We all know it. We don't need to go. But I remember reading that and get to the end where it goes, Judas begat Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom was born Jesus, who is called Christ. And I was going to my mum, but Joseph isn't Jesus' dad, is he? So if Jesus isn't related to Joseph, he isn't related to any of those people. There's a mistake on the first page of the New Testament. As an 8-year-old, I realised that, so I was a rationalist. But this is The 4 Men Had a Fight with the Men of Fies. Once there were 4 men and a lot of men of Fies, and they had a fight. And most of the men of Fies died, and all of the men died, which is quite a brave authorial move there. I have killed... This is just the first page. I've killed the titular 4 men. They're dead. The eponymous heroes. That's a brave... stroke. And they saw a lot of men, the Men of Fies, and they had a fight. And a lot of the men got killed, and the rest ran away. And they went on, the Men of Fies. They saw some more Men of Fies, and said, will you join us? And they did. And they saw a man, and he had a gun. And one of the Men of Fies got shot. And one more of the Men of Fies killed the man. And they went away and killed all the men they saw, full stop. That's the first sentence there. It's important if you're going to be a writer. Make the first sentence something that grabs people's attention. And it goes on, though, until they saw a monster. And the monster killed a lot of Men of Fies, and a lot escaped. And it was a difficult life for them. Suddenly, after all that killing, we care for these murderous men. they got too old to kill anybody, and they all died except one. And he is still alive on this day, and he is being careful not to be seen the end. Kind of lovely. It's like, it is beautiful, thank you. It's a little moral. I'm not saying I'm better than Jesus, but that is better than any of his parables. If you're going to be a bad person, that's what will happen. You'll have to hide away, be careful not to be seen. Thanks very much for having me. You've been terrific. Good night.